Good morning, and welcome to another exciting edition of Day 4 with the man, Frank Stevens. I gotta plug my other cord in, Frank.
You do that.
I put my headsets on. I didn't hear anything, and I said, oh, no, a technical issue, and then it was 100% on me. What's going on, Frank? It's been a while.
It's been a long time. How was your trip?
I did. So this time last week, I was in Scotland.
Perfect. Did you catch Nessie? That's all I care about.
No, so I don't think I've really kind of talked about the fishing aspect of it. It was like a non-fishing trip, like, right? So, but there was one day, like Courtney put it all together and it was like, well, we can't do like a kind of a birthday trip without some fishing. So she booked like a half day on Loch Ness.
Sweet, dude.
And we will get into a bunch of fishing stuff. We got the final Bassmaster Elite Series of the season going on right now on the St. Lawrence River. I actually watched the takeoff this morning. You know, Rick Clunn's been doing this 50 years of tournament competition with Rick Clunn. Now, Rick has never talked about retirement, says he doesn't believe in retirement. But it is 50 years. And if he does hang it up, I don't see him as the type to be like, hey guys, it's like my swan song. It's my going away part. Like, I think he's just going to be like, I'm done.
If he hangs it up, he just disappears.
So anyway, it is the last regular season tournament of the Bassmaster Elite Series in his 50th year. So I kind of wanted to watch that take off. Rick might do it for another 10 years. He might come out with a 60 years of Rick Clunn and 2034.
Yeah, I mean, you don't know. I mean, he's a machine. I know for a fact that if I fish 4 or 5 days in a row now, I'm whooped. Mm-hmm. Where before, man, I could go and go and go and never stop. So my hat's off to him for sure. I mean,
so we have that going on the St. Lawrence. I said I'll talk a little bit about fishing Loch Ness, and then you have a little segment on rods that you want to dive into, and then also I did not know this until that's why we were like 30 seconds late. We were talking about this, like some old school stuff is coming back with a new twist to it. Like, this is kind of exciting because I have some of this stuff from like the 90s in my tackle box.
Oh yeah, same here. I've been begging for this for years. I mean, this is something that I literally have been on my soapbox about for years. And it has taken so long to reinitiate this process and get everything going. Look, I love these guys, man. Good morning, everybody. Long time no see.
So Rick sent me a text. I guess you guys went out and massacred him last week.
Yeah, we had a decent day last week. He came up, because he travels around the country, clearly, doing all the trailer stuff that he does and everything. And the irony of it all is that I don't ever know when he's going to get here. So I'm never prepared. I'm never prepared, like, where I go out and actually pre-fish something. So I know 100% that we are on him. And so it's always a crapshoot when he shows up. And he came in last week. I took a gamble on a lake that I hadn't been on in a little while, and it paid off. I mean, we didn't catch the giant slobs that I wanted to, but we caught decent bass, and it was disgusting out. It was so hot. It was disgusting. It was a good day. I don't know how far into the story I should go.
Okay, well, here's the issue. So you're chuckling about this. So here's the text from Rick right there. You know, there's the picture. There's you guys out on the lake. I'll just show it. There's
background.
It's not background, but I know you, so I'm not going to show the picture. You kind of brought it up, and Rick says I'm still laughing. Now, he specifically told me not to ask you about this on air. So, of course, I'm going to ask you about it on air.
Of course you are.
Oh, what's up?
You are. I got
that's
a little.
Bama.
No, this is
no, that's
Lynx.
Lynx. Oh, my goodness. Lynx, I feel like, has gotten bigger since our last live show.
Oh, gosh. Yeah. This cat's grown by leaps and bounds. It's, she's a giant. Oops. I did something to my computer. Hold on. There
no, you're good. I got you.
Yeah. Look at her. This cat's big, man.
So do you want to just say that there's a funny story there to remind me to tell you off air? Or do you want me to read what Rick said not to ask you about?
Oh, you could read what Rick said not to ask me.
So this is what Rick said. He said, ask him about the paddleboard chick. He goes, it's a better story than that. Don't ask during the show.
Okay.
Well, so the first thing that I did 6 minutes in
is ask during the show.
Because this guy
is on the water. Let's just put it to you this way.
Is this the last day 4?
This is going to be the last day 4. No, I'll just put it to you this way, as delicately and politically correct as I can possibly put it. Clearly she was working on her tan lines or lack thereof.
Did you run into a naked paddleboarder, Frank?
Absolutely.
Wow. That had to be quite the shock.
It was impressive.
It is interesting to me. There does seem to be a larger population of exhibitionists on the lake than anywhere else. Because I have one Wednesday night instance sticks out. I'm fishing with my buddy Kenneth, where we are dialed in on a brush pile, throwing big worms on it. You only got 3.5 hours, and this pontoon boat kind of goes right behind us, and then it just kind of stops. And I'm like, well, they're watching us fish. And all of a sudden I hear this guy go, hey guys, check this out. And we turn around and his wife was topless.
Perfect.
We were like, whoa. And he's like, what do you think? And we were like, put it back on.
Yeah, you're like, thumbs up, dude. Yeah. What do you want me to say?
Looked at Kenneth and I was like, do we leave? And he's like, I don't know what we do here. And then they idled off to show someone else, I guess.
He was proud, man. He was proud. Yeah.
Similar situation with you and Rick and the paddleboarder.
Oh, 100%. 100%. So, sometimes fishing can be entertaining.
Rick said she was happened to be paddleboarding right on the waypoint.
Yeah, she was. she was. That's why I had the waypoint there.
Oh my gosh. All right, back to fishing. Do you have like specific lakes that whenever there's a tournament, even 20, 10, 15 years later, you're just like, man, I want to follow that one. Like, I love that lake. I don't care what it is. Cause like that St. Lawrence River and that I'm watching here, like, I don't care how many years they go to it, but like, you kind of can picture where they're fishing after you spent so many days on it. The techniques. You're like, oh, he's in a big fish hole. And I'm not saying I'm an expert out there, but I've put probably 40 days in on the St. Lawrence.
That's a lot of days, dude.
Yeah. Are there any lakes that the tours consistently go to where you're kind of like that when you see it, it brings back a flood? Is it?
Yo, Champlain, 100%. Like sometimes I'm like, watch the footage and I'm like, oh shit. You know what I mean? It's like, no, not there. You know what I'm saying? But you got to understand something in today's day and age with the technology and the knowledge of the anglers that they have today. Mm-hmm. Unless you find something like insanely nitty gritty that's way off the freaking beaten path, most guys will find stuff. That's why I spent countless hours looking for the smallest, most insignificant looking areas, because then I know for a fact that I have those to myself. If you're fishing main structural elements, that are on every map, or you're just off of that structural element, guys are going to find it, because if you get whenever you look at a contour map, we're kind of going down a different path, but
Yeah, no, that's fine.
I'm good with it. So whenever you look at a contour map, if you see a main structural element, you could almost bet your life somewhere off of that element is going to be another, another offshore area that can be really good. And so what's happening with side imaging and forward facing sonar, especially because I truthfully, I use my forward facing sonar, it helps me tenfold structure fishing, because I see exactly where what I want to hit is. You don't always see the bass on it, because if they're plastered in the boulders, you can't really see them unless they come up and look at your bait when it goes by and goes back down. And then you make the switch, because at that point, if you're cranking and they don't chase that crankbait, but they come up and look at it and go down, which happened to me yesterday a lot, you have to make that adjustment because they're there. And so it's really it's really kind of cool. So I spent a lot of time idling in my practice days. You know how you hear guys go, yeah, I just spent time looking. Yeah. Most of my practice days were looking because I want to find something that is not going to get the attention that everything else is going to get. Because here, look, if I find one isolated thing that's got 6 or 7 bass on it, and I'm the only one that found it, I can more likely than not catch almost all of them. Now, sometimes you find them and they're loaded. Sometimes you find them and there's only 1 or 2 on them. But if you got enough of those places, generally they're bigger, they're less pressured, they bite easier, blah, blah, blah. That's my theory behind it.
So, you've done a lot of shows about finding the sweet spot, the juice, the magic cast. We've done shows on angles based on current, based on bait fish positioning, the whole 9 yards. But what you're talking about, and what I think is big right now, and what forward facing sonar is showing everyone, that the top guys were doing before forward facing sonar, like the Timmy Hortons and the Kevins and the guys who really understood what they're looking for, was they were taking the high percentage spot and they were saying, okay, this is what I think you're saying, that there are fish that are there, but sometimes you roll up and you're like, oh, those fish aren't there. But what we're realizing is there might be a structural element. Yes, Drunk would drink. We said structural element. I'm in a coffee. Dude. That's 50 yards, 100 yards, 150 yards away, exactly, where the group of fish are being brought to the rock pile, the brush pile, but based on pressure or based on current or wind or sunlight or something, they might have slide off, half a football field away. And you're like, oh, those fish aren't there. But a little bit of grid graphing with your 2D with side imaging, or moseying around with forward facing sonar, now you're like, oh, here's something that maybe would only hold 1 or 2 fish if it was by itself, but because it's adjacent to in the same vicinity, now this becomes the primary thing that they're kind of going back and forth based on. That's freaking, I can't tell you how many times, like I was with Timmy Horton one time just documenting a practice day, and he was graphing Kentucky lake ledges. I don't think I've told this story, except he never graphed the actual ledge or the sweet spot. What he did was he went up onto the flat 50 to 100 yards, and he graphed and looked for subtle shell beds. And he said, everyone will fish the ledge, everyone will fish that. He goes, when they get fish, he goes, those fish will slide 50 feet up, and there'll be, like you said, 5 or 6 fish on this little subtle spot that now becomes the A+ spot that 10% of the anglers find instead of 90% of them.
Absolutely. That was a lot of my claim to fame on Champlain. To be honest with you, that was a lot of it. I found the places that the fish would use not on the main stuff, close to the main stuff. Now, there was a day in the one tournament where the wind was blowing so hard on the main structural element, the fish pushed up on there to feed. And I wound up, my non-boater and I wound up having a Carolina rig day from heaven. I mean, we caught so many big, giant smallmouth that was sickening. But the reality of it is I found them off of that structural element, which the first day of the tournament caught them off of it. It was not as windy. It was flat. They were out there, and I caught them off of that. When the wind picked up and I went out there to the little hidden spot, there was nothing on it. And I said, okay, they just went up here, and we crushed them. So but
cool.
but that's part of the work ethic, because if you fish a main piece of structure and the fish are there and you go back and they're not there, if you didn't do your work thoroughly enough, you don't know where they went after that. And a lot of times in a tournament situation, you don't have that kind of time to look for them. If you have the guts to do it, it could pay off, but it could also crush you, because there might be something you missed in a different area near there and you never get to it and you waste an hour looking. You know what I mean? So that's why in practice, you have to be thorough.
Did you say you went yesterday?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Good?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. It was crazy yesterday. It was the craziest thing. So this actually leads into really good what I want to talk about.
Okay.
So I got out there yesterday in the morning and it was foggy. And I couldn't really run and rip it and run because it was very foggy. So I kind of just idled around taking my time, and I went to my first spot and there was a boat on it. And I'm like, what? So I said, okay, no big deal. I go to my second spot and there's a boat on it. I'm like, oh my gosh. Well, the fog started to come off the water. You know how, Matt, when you get that clear zone?
Yeah.
I started getting that clear zone. So I ripped it down to the opposite end of the lake, and there was a couple of things I wanted to fish there. So I started fishing there, and I didn't like what I was seeing. I just wasn't seeing enough activity. I wasn't seeing enough bait where I was at, and I really needed to be more main lakey. So I started idling towards my second spot again, and I saw the guy that was on it leave. He left, and he actually ran down towards where I was at. So I'm like, sweet. So I jumped the boat up on plane. I ran over there. I shut down. I pick up my DD22. I made a color called Envy.
I remember that.
I don't know if it's still available. Can you pull it up?
Look it up.
Yeah, let's. So I had 3 rods, 3 cranking rods. I had one with 17-pound and a DD22 in Envy color. I had one with 12-pound and a DD22 in Envy color. Yeah, there it is. Outstanding.
It's not in stock.
Oh, are you kidding me?
I'm not kidding.
No,
there's the NXS in Envy.
Is the
in stock?
Oh, good. The NXS is in stock.
Yep.
So anyhow, and then I had a deep little N in that color. So what happened was I go there and like my second cast, I get a good one on the DD22. I'm like, oh my gosh, this day's gonna be epic. And so I get him, and it was about 4 pounds, or as close to 4 pounds as you could get. And then like 3 casts later, I catch another one a smidge bigger than it. And I was like, oh, this is gonna be righteous. And then the lake went mirage, slick, sun. There wasn't a breeze. There was nothing going on. Well, I was ripping this crankbait about 15, 16 feet over real deep, immature grass. Little, like the grass was only, yay high. It was like a little carpeting. And I was burning it down there, and I see one come up. Whoa, comes up after it and disappears. And I paused the crankbait thinking I could get her to turn on it, and she never came back. So I made like 5 or 6 more casts, and I was watching it on scope, and I was burning it down there, and I could see her moving, and then she disappeared. And I'm like, what the hell? So I said, I gotta throw a net on it, because I gotta get something that's gonna go slow, because I pitched my, my half-ounce jig and stuff out there. They didn't want nothing to do with it. So I needed something that was going to fall super slow.
Mm-hmm.
So I throw the thing out there and boom, it loads up and it's a beast. And I'm like, holy smokes. So I literally, there's 3 edges on this offshore high spot that are the good edges. Where when I say the good edges, it's got some chunk rock mixed in with some grass and bare spots on top of it. So it's got all the nooks and crannies that you're looking for. And I literally just went around that thing like 4 or 5 times, and I had 20 plus pounds on it.
Wow.
And then a buddy of mine called me, and I wanted a good limit. I needed one more bite off of there to really make that limit good. And he calls me, and I put the phone on speakerphone and just set it on my front deck and was casting around.
You were talking to Justin.
Yeah, I was talking to Justin. And I got a 5-pounder. And I'm like, I said, dude, this is a good one, man. I'm fighting it. And all you hear is zzz, zzz, zzz. And it was great. And then here, I think that was about 11:30 when we were talking, Justin. And anyway, I caught one fish after that from 11:30 to 3 o'clock. One. And it was about 1.5 pounds. And I fished 7 different places.
Wow. Just shut off.
Yeah, it went just goofy. And so I was laughing because we pre-recorded next Thursday's show.
Yeah. It's a good show. Dog Days of Summer.
And it is a great show. And this is exactly what I talked about on the show.
Phenomenal.
What happened. So I'm not going to disclose the show for next Thursday, but I am going to tell you what I was doing was a diminishing pattern because of the Dog Days of Summer. And so that's going to be my tease for you guys to tune in Thursday, because what I explained in that video is exactly what happened yesterday.
I love 100% when the plan comes together.
Matt, the first thing I did, I was going to call you. I was literally going to call you and go, you're not going to believe this. You can't make this up. You know what I mean?
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was incredible.
All right. So I want to add something to your arsenal.
Please do.
That I don't know if we haven't really talked about this, but the minnow shaking thing is the big deal, especially, it kind of, I would say, really came to light with Christy winning that classic on the FF sonar minnow.
Yeah, dude, I broke one off over 6 on it yesterday.
Were you throwing the 5?
No, I was throwing a 4.
Dude,
I effed up, dude.
What'd you do?
I was throwing it on 8-pound leader.
Okay.
And I had been fishing it for 2 weeks on other bodies of water, and I never retied the damn thing.
Oh yeah, it's 100% on you.
Yeah, it's 100% on me. Oh my God.
You got to get some of the 5s, and when those fish are coming up and doing it, throw it on like an 1/8 or a 3/16 ounce jig head, and then go up to like 10-pound test, and
slow the fall down with the 10.
Slow the fall down with the big minnow.
I wish I would have thought of that yesterday, because I have 5s. I've got all 3.
Yeah, use the 5. I mean, dude, it's bulky. It's bigger.
Oh,
I mean, it does. But I mean, you can get it over them and shake it, and it has, you can get it as deep as a crankbait. You can fish it as slow as a jerk bait.
I wish
falls
I
like hair, and it's got all the elements right now. Like I have had a big minnow on a light jig head tied on my rod for the last 2 months.
Yeah, I'm pissed. I'm pissed I didn't do that.
Because when you were describing that bite, I was like, well, to me, that sounds like, no, those sound like big minnow fish.
Yeah, I'm an idiot, dude.
You're not an idiot. I mean,
because I thought about it, Matt, and I didn't do it.
Well, we've done shows lazy. Where if it comes into your head, you gotta You
I
got to
know.
follow your instinct.
I was too lazy because I was catching them the other way, and I'm like, I'll just eke it out. I'm catching them, and they're all big, so yay.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
1/8 ounce, 3/16, depending on the wind.
Yeah, I was throwing the 4 on an 1/8, and I saw one. What happened was I saw it, and I said, "Oh my God, that looks like a good one. If it's not a carp," and I fired out to it, and you know how the wind goes. I lost it for 1 second. I lost it, and I scanned back to see it, and I saw the fish swimming away. And I go, "Oh my God, I got it!" And it, I'm back like that, and it goes, and it was gone. I was like, "Holy smokes!" Here, hold on a second. I gotta take this. I mean, I'm not taking the call. I gotta text this guy. He's coming over to help me with a project later.
Oh, how is the project, by the way? You got your bathroom put all back together?
This is what's going to be today.
We're doing, no.
Yeah, the final tile work today.
Can we do it live from the SCALISH crapper next 2
That
weeks?
is so that's great, dude. I'm so sorry I have to do this right now.
No, I mean, we all have to take care of business. I'm headed out after. I got to go. I have a business meeting with the one and only Mark Jeffries at noon. Sweet. After this, I have to run by the post office and drop a couple things in, then come back, hook the boat up, get all of next week's shows loaded, and head up to Minnesota for the 7th open of the year. Now, those go off limits for information 15 days before the event. So, we have like a cutoff day we could do it. But I do believe that there is a day 4 that we did about a year and a half ago where you dove into fishing wilder ice. And don't say anything, but I am probably going to put that little section on replay as I head up to Leech. So
I'm actually jealous, dude. I want to fish new water in the worst possible way. I'm very, very, very bored with the lake.
Do you not have like the just little ponds you can dump in like we do all over Oklahoma?
No, we don't have that many of them. There is some lakes that I haven't fished yet in my life ever, but they're a pretty good hike from here. I'm thinking about starting to go towards those bodies of water because I need new stuff. I just need new stuff like the lakes that I fish that are within an hour and a half of my house or 2 hours of my house, I'm very familiar with. So it's like, well, if they're not here, they're there. If they're not doing this, they're doing that, which is great for fishing. But the challenges, you know what I mean? It's about the challenges. And so I've been really focusing hard on, to keep things interesting, I've been really focusing hard on live scope, how I really want to use it to benefit me. I chase some open water fish. Mostly I'm using it mostly for structure fishing. I practice hitting targets away from me so I get used to the casting distance. So I'm not wasting casts. Like in the beginning, you don't realize in the beginning when you start using forward-facing sonar, the biggest thing with it is how far is that fish really from you? And I found out that I was overcasting a whole ton, which isn't good because a lot of times you'll cast off your screen. And then by the time you pick the bait up, you're usually too far below the fish. And then you got to recast. And a lot of times they're gone already. They're moving. And so I started practicing just going, okay, that's 45 feet away, and then flicking it out there and going, oh shit, I'm right on top of it. Excellent. You know what I mean? Just so I can get better and more efficient at it. Because it's like anything, it's a tool. So you have to become so comfortable with it that it's just an extension. Like 2D sonar, it's just part of my game. I
Mhm.
can glance at it and I know right where I'm at, right where I have to be. And in all honesty, since I got the live scope, I haven't been watching my 2D sonar hardly at all. I've been paying mostly attention to what the scope's telling me. So that's kind of weird and something I'm getting used to. You know, it's you made a statement a long time ago that it's going to affect your fishing in the beginning.
Oh yeah.
And you are 100% correct. It's not that I was chasing fish that weren't bass. It's that I was getting away from what I do to make me successful. And so I had to refocus my attention on fishing the way I fish and then let the live scope be a bonus, if that makes sense.
100%. So, I mean, what we do is there's Bing right there, right? There's
Right.
Shawnee. That's where I live. And I just like go around and look. Now I've got that Lakes of Oklahoma book, but like, it becomes a lake. Looks like it's dirty. We got a boat ramp on it. Yeah, there's a boat ramp on it right there. And then I just like, you just get on there and start. Like, I've never even heard of. I was just looking at one. It looked like it was up. Oh, like I've never even heard of this right here. The heck, Horseshoe Lake.
Oh, sweet.
I have no idea. Like, I mean, does that? I don't. It doesn't really look like a boat ramp.
No. Yeah, I do this. I do the same thing, but a lot of our lakes, small like that, are private, and you can't get on them. We don't have as much water as you guys do.
We do here, and then I mean, obviously you hear of like the big ones, but every once in a while you'll find just like a little one,
a little hidden gem.
Little hidden gem. You've been to a few hidden gems that I have in my backyard, but yeah, it is interesting when you have limited options.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun down there fishing, and I
yeah, we gotta figure out when you're coming back down. It's probably gonna be a January or February deal when we get a good week of weather. We got a lot planned for the 2025 season. SCALISH on the water.
Matt and Frank on the water.
We're gonna hit 100%. We're gonna hit next year. We're gonna hit show number 200. And as far as I know,
we got to do something good for that show.
As far as I know, we're good for 25. Like, I don't think we're going anywhere, are we?
Oh no, we're not going anywhere.
Yeah.
But you know, hidden gems are great. And the crazy enough thing is, I have a hidden gem right here that I have been begging for probably 5 or 6 years to come back with. And it's one of my best kept secrets. And I had video because I actually went a couple years ago. I actually okay, so this is the I don't even know how to do this because I'm
come out with it, Frank. What are we talking about?
Okay, so this is the C77 Big O. And the C77 is the size of the Big O.
Okay.
It's about 2 inches. Here, I'll tell you exactly how big it is.
Frank, the only guy who has a metric system ruler sitting next to him.
It's points and picas for typesetting. That's how we had to do it back in the old days.
Interesting.
It's a 2-inch bait. Okay. It's a 2-inch bait, C77 Big O. Everybody's heard about the Big O. Okay. They had a color they called G finish. And this is the G finish color. I don't have my flashlight here, but if I put the flashlight on it, it illuminates like a street sign at night.
It shows very well right now.
Perfect. So it illuminates like a street sign at night. So we brought back my 3 favorite colors. First of all, the grayback. This is my number 1 go-to right here. And I have a story about it. And then the chartreuse one, the chartreuse back, which is a smallmouth killer when they get in range for this bait. And then royal shad. I think this is called royal shad. It's that purple back with the chartreuse belly on it.
Yep. I love that one.
This dude, mauler. So here's the deal. So the video did not run, okay, because they didn't make this color then. They made it, but discontinued it, didn't have it. I was promoting the bait, not necessarily the color.
Right.
But they're like, we can't do the video because it's not a color we have. And I was on a spotted bass fishery, and I literally, the first the first 3 spots I caught a 3.5, one just a smidge over 4, and another heavy one that was not quite 4, and all on the same spot, all within 4 casts of each other, and it was absolutely crazy. But this bait, I started fishing this bait on the Ohio River. That's when I started fishing this bait, long time ago. And basically, I had Smoky Joe was my go-to color, and then when they came out with this one, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is amazing, because it's made, the paint that they're putting it on is the same reflective characteristics of a street sign at night. So what this does is, underwater, it reflects and refracts the light differently, predicated on watercolor. This is what gave me the idea for the FX series, layering my pearls, by the way. And so this bait is as real as it gets in the water. And I'm like, we have to bring it back. We have to bring it back. And until I'm blue in the face. Well, lo and behold, I knew about this for about a year, and it is everything I could do to shut my mouth, because I'm ecstatic that this bait is back. It is. I've caught them on Gunnersville, on Lake Norman, Champlain, Lake Erie. I've caught them everywhere on this bait. When those fish are in that range, and here's the cool thing about this bait, I used it a lot of times not to hit the bottom, but to run above the bottom when the bass were suspended. And that pre-spawn, that early pre-spawn when they're staging, money. The post spawn, money, when they're starting to pull out and they're not quite relating to anything yet. That's where this bait excels. In the fall, when the shad are little and they start running up the creeks, money. And so I'm excited about it, because I couldn't get them anymore. And I literally have 2 of each of these colors left in my stash. And I have 3 of each of the colors in my boat. But the ones in my boat, they're beat to death, and half of the G finish is off of them already. So I was like, oh my gosh, I don't want to bust out my new ones, because I don't have any left. And if they never come back with it, then I'm out of them. And so now they're here. And I'll be honest with you, I've already ordered mine, because I knew it was coming, and I'm not missing out on this color. These colors.
So how old are the red fins that I have that are in the G finish?
Oh, dude, those were like when they first came out with the G finish.
Yeah.
Those are old.
90s?
Maybe, yeah, early 90s, I think.
Okay. I have a question, Frank. Walk me through this. We've done a lot on color on it. We're talking about the G finish. Recently we had Dan McGill on from Great Lakes Finesse.
Mm-hmm.
Dan is big on matte finishes on the soft plastics. He believes it's more natural. The smallmouth eater he was talking about before, he would actually rub the shine off of his plastics. Now, what you're saying is, I mean, it doesn't get any flashier than a G finish, and you're talking about the reflectivity, and it's like a street sign. And Dan saying, well, I want this thing to be drub with 0 flasher finish on it. So walk me through that marriage of how both of those are accurate statements.
Okay, so here's the deal. With the GLF system, because it is a system.
Yep.
It's ultra finesse.
Okay.
It's slow. It's slow and low. It's in your face the entire time. That has to look so incredibly, I want to say, neutral. That fish has to know that looks like a minnow, that looks like a leech, that looks like something I need to eat. I got to go look at it, check it out. And they don't have hands, so they can't touch it. They got to eat it. to see if it's edible or not. It's very finessey. With the crankbaits, it's holy crap, that looks like a shad. It's getting away. I better get it.
Okay.
It's all you're appealing to two different bite windows of a bass.
Two different senses.
Correct. And that's the difference.
Okay.
That's the difference.
I feel like that was a valid question because as you were talking about the G finish, but yeah, totally different scenarios.
Mm-hmm.
And so you were saying this will even flash like the G finish and stuff
in
dirty water, clear water, stained water, and it kind of matches the water clarity.
Yeah, 100%. It's so cool. It's such a cool color. I've caught so many bass on that all across the country, and I've literally never talk about it. I have 3 really close friends of mine, and of course my sons, that know about this, and we would keep it lock and key, never talk about that bait. I did a video with it on Gunnersville and caught them. They were schooling, and I was chasing schoolers with it, which was psychotic. Some of the spotted bass lakes down south, ridiculous. I mean, ridiculous. So it catches them everywhere I go. So that's why I'm so happy that these things came out, and they put them out in the 3 colors that I wanted in the 80s. Yeah, that sounds about right. Because I had
they are still I got them at Mike's Tackle World in Decatur, Illinois, like the original redfins. I got the redfin and then the jointed redfin.
Dude, I like the jointed one better.
Have you done a show about redfins?
I have never done a show about redfins, but I modified the crap out of mine to make them wake like crazy.
Do they still sell them?
Yeah, they still sell them. They have some. I did some paint jobs for them not too long. That
looks like a Frank paint job.
Which one is it? Yes, it is.
Let's see. Let's play the game. That's been around forever. That's been around forever. That's been around forever. That's been around forever. That one looks like a Frank Scalish job going based on the gut bag and the target right there.
It is.
That's clearly a Frank Scalish paint job.
It is. Yes,
that one looks like a Frank Scalish paint job, and I can tell because you love to do a larger smoky blue-gray eye around a lot of your crankbaits on the head of the crankbait. Like that's a thing that you really like to do.
Yeah, I think it accentuates the eye and gives more of a cheek feel to the bait.
Are you one of the guys who like is there enough there to do a show, to save a show for the fall, like when we're on the big shad and up on the surface? Because I know there's a bunch of guys who mess with the joint, they mess with weighting the belly, and then there's guys who like will put a lighter and stuff to the bill.
Yep, I've done all
there's
of that.
Guys who will scrape it off on the side to make it a true bone. I mean, there's all sorts of, like a redfin, it's a dying art.
It is, and I've done it all, to the point of grinding the bill down and putting my own bill in them. I've done everything to that bait.
There's enough to do a show on that?
There's enough to do 3 shows on it.
All right, let's save that then for later.
Let's save it for
back
later.
To the G-Fit. This isn't like, I have to show this. I was looking. I was trying to find a picture of you.
Oh, for crying out loud.
I found a dude on the West Coast whose name is Frank Scalish, who does podcasting and fictional stories about hockey.
Okay, that is not me.
Is that not weird?
It's weird. Will the real Frank Scalish please stand up?
Anyway, I was going to show you that after the show, but then it popped up there.
But
but those are not the like limited run 600. They're just doing it in that one size, though.
Yes, just going to be the C77, which in my opinion is the only size, and it is going to be a limited run, which is sad, which is why I got them already. They're probably at my doorstep right now.
Those are the old ones.
Yeah, these are the original ones.
If you had a dog, your dog would bark and alert you that someone was at the door, and then you would know if it wasn't.
Yeah, see, I have the original packaging that I cut it down so I could store them all, get more in. I had to break them out, but now I don't feel so bad about breaking them out because I got more coming. So these will go right in my boat now. The G finish. I love this color, man.
Do you feel?
Can you really see it?
Yeah, no, at 100%. You can literally see your ring light reflecting off of the bait.
Perfect. So yeah, so I'm actually, you guys know that I keep up with the latest painting techniques, trends. I have a pipeline into PPG to find out what the newest let's say tricks are coming out in the future. I'm currently working on another FX series. I just finished an FX series that is going to be probably called Real Effects, which is real. And then I'm doing another one, which I'm teasing it now, even though it's way, way, way early. And as soon as this show's over, that's what I'm doing. I'm going down to finish painting some colors that I have in it, and it'll excite me as much as these excited me. Let's just say that.
You are becoming a little bit of Picasso like work where you see a painting and you're like, oh, that's gotta be whatever. That's just saying Frank is notable with the skill and techniques that he's now able to identify SCALISH colors and baits.
Yeah, like the Rebel Craw. Like, this is crazy, guys. They teased the Rebel Craw online, and my Instagram blew up with DMs going, those look like your colors. And I'm like, well, that's because they are.
Jeff is being, I think he's being sarcastic where he says nobody scrapes chrome baits to get to a bone color quit line. But
he's being sarcastic.
I know,
because here's what happened. Remember when we did the Rogue show? And I said it's the black chrome Rogue that
I've got like 15 Rogues that are scraped now.
Right, that if you scrape it off, it's scraped off. So Brazil goes out and he buys a bunch of Rogues, and then he gets them and he's scraping them off. And his wife is like, Jeff, what do you just spent all that money on those baits and you're scraping them off? And he looks right at her. He goes, Uncle Frank told me to.
But I asked this, so there's a whole new generation of tournament anglers right now, young professional anglers. And when I first got into it, I feel like I spent hours and hours around guys' boats and in hotel rooms and stuff. And they'd be like, okay, I'll show you how to make this bait right. And you would go in and it would be like, blah, blah, blah. They would never talk about it. And you were like, oh yeah, well, Edwin showed me how to do this, or so-and-so showed me this, and you'd keep that. I feel like that is a lost art in the younger generation of these anglers as far as lure modification changes, or is it that the technology and the bait making has gotten good to where those are now incorporated into the bait at sale, so that isn't necessary?
Yeah, a lot of both. Because here's what's okay. So a modification comes out of a necessity.
Mm-hmm.
You don't just sit down and start melting shit and drilling holes and stuff.
Speak for yourself.
It comes out of a necessity. And so consequently, what happens is the bait manufacturers are like, well, why'd you do that? Well, because the bait performs better weighted like this, or the bait performs better bending the bill like this. And so now what's happening is, you're right, a lot of these baits now have incorporated a lot of these changes already in them. There's a bait coming out. It's hard to stay ahead of what's happening.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the tweaks come after something is already made. So it's hard to stay ahead of it. Well, Booyah's got a new jerkbait coming out that actually is probably right on time. It's a very unique jerkbait. It shows up like a light bulb on live scope. It was totally designed for that. It's got a big profile on the scope because of what they did to the bait, which I'll get into later on the next couple weeks. I'll get into it in detail. But as far as like coming out with something that's on time, it's rare, because what happens a lot of times is you'll get something that was years and years in the making. And so with Live Scope coming out and the advent of jigs and minnows, a lot of guys are finding that, it's made jerkbait fishing relevant the entire year, no matter what.
Yeah.
And so to come out with something in the height of this forward-facing sonar game, I don't know if it was perfectly planned or super lucky, but you don't always see that. Usually the better bait comes out after the fact. So I'm really excited about that, and I can't wait to introduce the bait to you guys. They teased it a couple of times already at iCast and stuff, and it's getting a lot of attention because it is kind of unique. It doesn't look unique in the sense that it looks like a good jerkbait, but it's unique, and so that's pretty cool.
While you were talking, I guess we are kind of in an era, and obviously, I mean, I'll use Booyah bait as an example, but like this, so 15 years ago, if you were hanging out around Jason Christie's boat and you saw him changing blades and sharpieing and all that, you'd be like, my God, it's the magic spinner bait for Grand and Eufaula and,
right,
forget and all that. But now you have the Hildebrandt blade. Yeah. You've got the orange kicker. You've got the trimmed skirt and the red head. All things that, obviously like the original Jimmy Houston that I have here had that stuff. But for decades, Christie was buying a spinner bait, painting the head, trimming the skirt, changing the blade, adding or changing that orange kicker on it, and then putting the Hildebrandt in the Colorado or Willow on it. And now all of those elements are there. So I guess something that was like a trade secret, or unless he showed you, you didn't know how it was, now is available with all those features.
Correct. And that's a lot of what goes into bait design. Mm-hmm. And so it's very important as a lure company, no matter who the company is, it's very important not to get led astray. You have to have something that legitimately improves the performance of the bait, and that's really what it amounts to. If you do a change just because Joe Blow said he catches fish on it, he very well might at 3 days a year on a particular body of water. What? This has to translate across state lines. It has to translate into multiple bodies of water, not just one specific body of water. Or as a lure manufacturer, you could never sell enough of them to make it worth anything.
Why don't you have this for your colors, Frank? Look at this. So this is the covert.
You know how hard that is to make?
Okay. Water temp on the side, water clarity here, right?
Yeah.
So if it's murky water at 50 degrees, slightly stained, boom, there's your spinner bait. There's your color, your blade combination. If it's ice cold and really muddy, boom. If it's, like right now, like summer and clear, like if I was going to a 10 killer, boom. If I'm going to the river right now, boom. That would be badass in some of your crankbait deals.
Yeah, that would be very time consuming to do that. There's too many variables. A lot of the colors that I'm creating, especially as of late, with the exception of the crayfish colors, because crayfish is a crayfish.
Yeah, there's 65 here.
Oh yeah. I mean, it would be hard to do because a lot of my colors change color in the water based on water.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So yeah, it's not like a spinner bait where.
right where you're
That's
going.
pretty cool, though.
It's sweet. They did that with the jigs at one time. It's pretty cool.
I want to put a bow on that Big O. What rod are you cranking that with?
Okay, so on the Big O, I'm throwing a 725 Powell graphite.
Graphite.
I throw it on that one because a lot of times I'm not looking for big distance casting. Which I'm glad you brought this up, dude. I'm so glad you brought this up. So fishing rods have to be looked at like golf clubs. Everyone has a specific purpose, and then you'll have a handful in the middle that I call utility rods. They can do triple duty. You know, and in fact, I did that with my rod sleeves. The blue ones are all my cranking rods.
Okay.
The gray ones are my utility rods, and the fluorescent green ones. Are my flipping sticks. So when I open my rod locker up, I know at a glance exactly which ones I'm grabbing. So my utility rods will double as topwater, spinnerbait, chatterbait, rattle baits, et cetera, and then my cranking rods are specifically for cranking. The only difference between my cranking rods is I've got the 725 for close target fishing, and then everything else I got is 7.5 to 7'11", and the longer the blank is, okay, that's truly for offshore fishing, because accuracy is not critical, because I'm not trying to hit that little target. I'm trying to bomb it out there so I can get maximum depth out of my crankbait. So when it hits here's for Drunkwood, structural element, it's down to depth. You follow me?
Mm-hmm.
And then what I do is, another trick that I do is I have different line sizes. So I usually buy spare spools for my cranking reels, and I'll have 17, 14, 12, 10, and 8. Now 8 is for a very specific jerkbait technique, and I rarely throw 8, but I have it because there's a time when I do. And so that's how I have my crankbaits rod set up. My flipping sticks are really easy. It's an 806. It's a Powell 806, which is 8 foot, 6 power pull cue, but it's got a nice soft tip to it, so I don't lose the pitching accuracy with it. And it's a punch rod. It's a heavy flipping stick. Then I have the 775, which is a little bit more long pitches, maybe underhand casting, not quite as stiff. It's a 7 foot 7 inch 5 power. That gets a lot of my 10-inch worms, and when I'm actually fishing something out, you know what I mean, versus plunking and dunking it. So there's techniques to it. Well, I made my post yesterday. I had posted 2 prototype Naked Series Powells. One I have here right now. I ran out and got it. So you could see that on this rod, there's no markings of any kind except for my white tape, which tells me what rod I'm looking at, 7104, and then what pound line I have on it. So if you look at the handle, I hope I don't get in trouble for this, but if you look at the handle, you'll see that I can't turn it the other way because I don't have enough wall space over there. So it's going to be upside down. But if you look at the handle, it'll show you the date, the model, make, number on it. Okay. So these, myself and a handful of pros get these rods long before they're ever made for production. Long before they're made. This was 2023. I've been fishing it since 2023. Okay. If there's an issue with the rod, And when I say issue, I don't mean like it breaks or the guides fall off. I mean like if it's not doing what it's supposed to do, then I'll be like, hey, we need a little more stiffness in the midsection. I can't tear it through the grass. Or it's a little too soft. I'm not getting good hook penetration. And so then we make the modifications, get another prototype, fish the crap out of it. And it's not just me doing it. There's a handful of guys doing it. So everybody's got different feedback because everybody fishes differently.
Okay.
So everybody's got different feedback. So I got my grubby paws on this one, and it is a composite. And I've said in other shows, I'm not a big fan of composites or fiberglass. More so fiberglass than composite, because composite can be controlled by the amount of graphite versus fiberglass or whatever the composite configuration is.
Mm-hmm.
These rods weigh nothing. And I love the lightness of them. They're super sensitive because of the amount of graphite they're using in them. They're super, super sensitive. So the test for me was, how are they going to cast my big crankbaits? How are they going to cast my medium-sized crankbaits? Now, my tiny stuff I'm not worried about because I'm throwing them on the 725. So you see, there's a process here.
Mm-hmm.
I will tell you this, that with Powell, they want to put out the best possible equipment at the best possible price for the consumer. There's a lot of work behind the scenes that goes into it that people don't know. It's not like, oh, we're going to come out with a new line, we're going to call it this, we're going to make it look pretty, boom, here it is. That's not how it goes. Everything is fished and tested extensively before it hits the market. It has to, because when you start to drop the price point on a fishing rod, you have to make sure that it's the best of the best of the best, because you want that to stand out with the fishermen. And so that's why in that post I got these rods, because I got a couple comments that said, oh, they're composites. You said you don't throw composites. Well, I said I can't stand fiberglass, is what I said. And I said some composites are okay, but for the most part, I throw graphite. So depending on how much graphite you're using, and the composite is depending how it's going to behave. I don't want a rod to behave like fiberglass. You can't feel enough. You surely can't tear it out of the grass. You cannot tear a crankbait out of grass with fiberglass. It's too spongy. It absorbs the shock. The crankbait just mushes up in it. Where with these, like yesterday, I was actually feathering the baits through. Who's that dude?
That's professional angler Frank Scalish Jr.
Outstanding.
That's on the Powell website right there. Boom.
Look at that.
You can totally tell where he is based on the reflection in his sunglasses. Isn't that one spot you were telling me about?
Yeah. Yeah.
Look at that. Atta boy, Frankie.
Yeah. Farm Pond Junkie. There
we go.
Oh, there he is with his golf hat on.
Yep. Phenomenal.
But yeah, so I mean, so that's the deal with that, and the 711, the 711 6 and the 7104 naked, when they come out, is going to be absolutely a must for any serious offshore crankbait guy. It's a must. They're smooth as silk. They cast a mile. They're and the sensitivity is great on them. I can feel that crankbait, whether it's in a soft bottom, hard bottom, feathering through the grass, rolling over wood. I know exactly what it's hitting, where it is. It's good. And I've been fishing the crap out of them, because the one thing I don't do is monkey around with my crankbait rods, because it's too important to me.
Do you have a Powell discount?
I do not.
Okay.
I do not. But if you go on their website, just let them know you heard it here, because I'm trying to I'm trying to work some things out with that. So the more input, the more feedback they get, the better it is for the future of this show as well.
You know what the price point is on those yet? Roundabout ballpark.
I can't even guess. All I care about is how they fish. I don't care how much they cost. If that's terrible.
They're a naked series.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, okay. These are reasonable. I mean, it's exceptionally reasonable. All the naked series on here, well, a lot of them are sold out. $200.
Yeah, that's not bad. And
No.
I think what's the endurance coming in at $1.50?
Hold on. Here. Casting. You want the casting crankbait rods in the endurance?
No, just go to Mag Bass stuff.
Mag Bass.
Because that's the
150.
Yeah, that's so how can you beat it? You know what I mean? Yep. You can't beat it. I'm not going to talk about other brands, but you're getting the highest quality rod for a lot less money.
Yeah.
And I had guys that were dyed in the wool G Loomis back in the day, and when I stuck a Powell in their hand, they gravitated over to Powell because you're getting twice the rods for the money, and they're equally as good.
It's 10:37 in the morning on the St. Lawrence, right?
Dude, they're so gonna bust. They're gonna go over 100 pounds.
So 10:30 in the morning. Now, this is estimated weight. So if you're putting in 5-pounder on Bass Track, you better believe it's probably 5 1/4, 5 1/2. If you're putting in 4 1/2 on 4 3/4 on Bass Track, probably pushing 5. But just the guys that are doing Bass Track that have been like, yeah, that's a 5 and put in 5-pounder. Guess how many 5-pounders so far?
I couldn't even imagine.
8. And it's an hour plus run to the promised land, and it's 10:30 in the and it's 10:30 in the morning. So let's say they took off at 6:30. They really didn't start most of the guys. I mean, yeah, you could drop your trolling motor and catch them there. I would say the majority of the guys that went to that Cape Vincent, to the lake area where the bigger fish tend to live, they get there at 8. It is now 10, so 8:30 by the time a lot of guys are running 100 miles. So they've been fishing, a lot of these guys, for just over like an hour and a half.
Yeah.
8 over 5 and already 1 over 6, Caleb.
And that's only what's been reported.
Yeah, I mean, here's a 414, 414, 412, 412, 410, 410, you know?
Oh yeah. It's that place, man. I don't want to go down the rabbit hole. I just
haven't, but that's where we right now, August 15th, it gives us a year. I don't know what my schedule is. I don't know what I'm fishing next year or whatnot. Let's make a pact that we get on the water on the St. Lawrence River in Lake Ontario next summer. Are you good with that?
Yeah.
Let's rent a friggin' house around Cape Vincent, somewhere around there. Get Frank Jr. up there.
Yeah, 100%.
Couple of the guys, and let's do like 3 days on Thousand Islands.
Yeah, Frankie and I were actually talking about that, to be honest with you, about starting to go places, starting to say, I never fished here, I want to fish here, or I've only fished here twice, I want to go back and revisit it. And so I've got a bunch of lakes on that bucket list. And now what I'm doing is I'm fine tuning certain seasons out, what I want to experience. Because, I mean, I like to chase the offshore bite. So I'm not going to like run to places during the spawn because I don't want to fish the spawn. I want to fish offshore.
And this was the first, so I spent 4 days at Thousand Islands in July. And it was the first time that I had been there. It was like the 4th time that I'd been there. But the first time that I'd been there where I wasn't practicing for a tournament, pre-practicing for a tournament, or officially competing, right? And the level of relaxation and my ability to explore and say, well, let's go make this drift, or let's see if this works, or I jumped a 6.5 pounder off and went, man, that sucks, whereas before that would have just destroyed me. Yeah
100%.
It was so different being there for the pure enjoyment of being there without I don't want to say, it wasn't like looming, but without
without anything on the line.
No agenda.
Right.
Yeah. No agenda.
So this is in my world. This is where I'm at. I tournament fished for, at the full-time pro for 11, 12 years ish. Semi-pro way before that for a long time. And now I'm out fishing for the sheer joy of fishing, to experiment, to explore, to do, and it's fun. It's fun. I mean, like, part of me misses the competition aspect of it, but to be honest with you, what I'm doing now is just, it's so much, I don't even know how to explain
rewarding.
But like yesterday, I literally could have left the lake at noon yesterday. But I didn't. And of course it was like Memorial Day weekend out there. Here, I'll show you some. I had a little sneaky spot that I wanted to fish, and I saved it for later in the day when all the jet skiers and all the,
paddle boarders.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And all the happy people came out. I saved it, and I pull up on it. Now check this out. It's in the middle of nothing. Okay. It's a very quiet end of the lake. I saved it for last on purpose. I go out there and I just start to fish. I literally make 2 casts. Along comes a pontoon boat, pulls right in front of me, and they start swimming.
No.
And that is the high spot. They are they are on top of the high spot. And I am like, are you effing kidding me? Are you kidding me? They literally pulled, like, that picture doesn't even do it justice.
Oblivious?
Dude, I chicken shit it out, because I should have just went like that and started snapping pictures, but I kind of hid it over here and just took a shot, because I didn't want them to know I was taking pictures of them, because I wanted to illustrate a point. Okay. The point being is that people don't think. I'm literally casting, and they're so close to me that I can't even cast.
Did you say something?
Yeah, I went like this. I went, are you kidding me? And so listen to this. So I trolling motored around them, because I figured I'll go to the back side of and fish the back part of the break, right? I turn my boat around and start trolling motoring to go around them, behind them. And the lady in the boat goes, "Thank you for moving." Yeah. I'm like, I was actually here first, and you guys drove right up on me and shut the boat down.
Did you say that?
No, dude. It's getting harder for me to voice my opinion on the water, because of, believe it or not, this show, and because of what I'm doing in the industry.
Yeah, no, you have carved a niche for on the water meltdowns for yourself, though. From the very beginning of day one on BTL, that is what is expected. You are supposed to have on the water meltdowns,
yes.
Frank.
And so,
like, that's part of this.
Yeah. So here's what I did. I literally spot locked the boat. I put all my rods away, and I went home after that. I'm like, no, because to be honest with you, it happened to me probably 8 or 9 times yesterday. And there was some dudes in a jet boat, the big loud blah 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 jet boat kind of thing. Mm-hmm. I did have words with them, because I knew they would never be people that watch or listen to this show. Them I had words with, and there was about 7 of them in the boat, and They came by me so close that I almost got wet with their backwash from their jet motor.
Yeah, it's not good.
And in which case, I gave them some serious sign language, and in case they were not hard of hearing,
what people don't realize is Frank is fluent in sign language, and he signed, "I really don't appreciate how closely you drove next to the boat.
Right.
Please be more courteous of anglers in the future." Thumbs up.
That's exactly. That's exactly how it sounded when I was saying it.
That's what you minored in college.
Or only it was a much shorter version than that.
As all this is going down, Frank, I would like to remind you, you have built quite an Instagram following, and Frankie could show you, but if you're on your homepage, there's a little plus button, and then it just says live. Feel free to just hit that little live button anytime you're in an on-the-water situation like that. I would be interested in following a play-by-play of something like that.
So I could just hit a button and it records it on Instagram?
Oh, no, you're live. Yeah, well, yeah, you're live.
Oh, hell, I didn't know
You didn't know that? Here,
no,
watch this.
I never knew that.
Watch this. And then it'll save it. Live. Add a title. Live with
Day
Frank.
4. Day 4.
And
yeah,
I can go back in. You didn't know that?
No, dude, I am not technologically savvy.
So I added the title. I'm gonna hit it right here. 3, 2, 1.
Bam.
It says checking connection. And we are now live. There it is. We are live on Instagram Live. And there's the show. There's the setup. I don't think people have seen the rest of the studio on the Instagram Live right there. There's the rest of the ETL studio.
That's crazy.
Dollar bills and stuff. Yeah, there it is. I've got 4 people on right now. There's Ryan. He says, "Let's go." Yeah, I'm just teaching you how to do it. See, I got on this screen, I got the Bassmaster pulled up right there.
Well, see, you're not really teaching me how to do it because I can't see one thing.
I'm just showing you. JT's hooked up right there. You can see my screen right here, all the little baits. There's my Rick Clunt autograph hat.
Okay, hold on a second.
And then, well, here, look. I think I can ask you to join somehow.
Oh, I see. I got you.
Here, watch this. I'm going to invite you to join. Hold on, Frank. SCALISH Fishing. I'm going to invite.
Okay, so how do I do it?
There should be something that pops up on Instagram right now.
Oh, go live with Matt.
Yeah.
Okay.
So then you'll be live. We got 30 people on right now. Now I don't know which screen could be facing your computer. It could be there you are. Now flip your screen around. Hit the button. I'm going to hit mine right here. There I am.
All right. So where the hell's
okay. There you can hear your audio.
Oh no. Oh yeah, yep. There I am.
There you go. So there we are. See, we're live right now on my Instagram. We're also live on your Instagram, crazy. And we're also live on day 4 of BTL while we watch live fishing for the Bassmaster Elite Series.
There's a lot of live stuff going on here.
There is so much live stuff going on. So and there you go. Now there's your fishing rod. There's the SCALISH studio that we're looking at where we did the live show before.
Yeah. So I did a small podcast with Drunkwood last night, and I drew that on it.
Is that a hamburger?
It is a hamburger.
That's absolutely insane.
Yeah. So this is wild, dude.
Yeah. So here's the deal. Like if we both have good signals too, and we join, so you can flip your camera around back on you, then you can set it up on a stand like that. Boom.
Like that.
So you can be fishing on your lake. I can be out fishing on the other lake. And we can have a.
That's wild.
Yeah, there it is.
Oh, I could do that. Do a scan of.
Yep.
Whoa, where the hell did they go?
There's all your trophies. And it looks like a bottle of. What is that bottle of?
That is from Trailer Rick.
Oh, very nice.
Bottle of bourbon.
All right, and then I'll hit the end button right here, and then we'll just go back to the regular show. And Perfect. It says, "Are you sure you want to end the live video?" Yeah, we're going to end the live video.
All right. Done.
There you go. So 61 people. I'm not going to save that. You think I should save that? Nah, that was a test.
That was a test.
We're going to discard the video. And the 61 people who watched it knew that we went live.
I could have ran and showed you the construction project.
Yeah. Well, it would have just been on Instagram though.
So
see
that's
what I mean?
very cool. Yeah, that's very cool.
Yeah.
And so
if you're
then
ever out on the water,
what
just
do you
blister them.
So you save it.
Yep, and then it'll show up as a reel or as a video on your.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, I mean, every time I do something. So the last time I went live is when I was on Table Rock in the winter, and I look back and there's a squirrel on my back deck.
Outstanding.
So I was like, I did like a 15-minute video of.
I think I remember seeing that actually. I do remember.
It was just it was a poor internet or connection there, but
that is wild, man.
Yeah. All right. What's that?
No, go.
I was to say next week, recorded show. I'll be up at Leech Lake,
hopefully
fishing the Bassmaster Open. I plan on it. Like, I feel like I'm gonna, and I might not catch them, but just as far as I'm just in a really good spot on the water right now.
Good.
Mentally.
That's important. That's important.
Yeah. He could have gone live with the naked paddleboarder.
Ooh, that would have been dangerous.
It would have been dangerous. But remember, it's just on Instagram. Dangerous. But we also have the technology where you can use your phone and we can go live during the show, which would, get ahead of ourselves there, but that's in the cards. So
just remember, G-Finish, Big O's are out. And then today.
Recorded show next week on the August 23rd, and then on August 22nd. Then we will be live Friday, August 30th at 8:30 a.m. Central Time. A Friday, not a Thursday. Day 4 on a Friday, and you will be.
That's the 30th.
Yes. Are we going to announce the color for September on the 30th, or are we going to wait till the 5th?
Maybe we'll tease it and blow it out on the 5th. I don't know yet. I got something else coming out on the 30th that I want to show you guys.
Okay. Jeff says, hey, thanks to Uncle Frank, top 10 the BFL. Oh, let's close it on this. That screenshot that I sent you of the email where you saved the dude's life.
Where I saved the guy's life?
Yeah, remember I sent you the email?
Oh, yeah. The winter time.
Yeah, let me see if I can pull that up.
Just remember, guys, use the BTL code on capital BTL 24. I actually didn't forget to use mine this last order I made, and I'm excited because it'll be here today.
Okay, I sent it to you. I won't say the name or anything.
You sent it to me.
Yeah, I got it right here. This is an email he sent. He said, Buddy came into town to visit and fish as I had really began to enjoy winter fishing. He stepped back up off the front deck as we were shuffling some stuff around, tumbled over into upper 30s water. Used gear to get him safe and made 15 to 20 minute run back to the ramp. Got him warmed up in the truck, was able to finish out the day. That was last year, and I just realized that it was your show that taught me to be prepared. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I guess if you needed someone to tell the story to emphasize the importance of preparation, I would. This was the beginning. He said, to be short about it, your winter fishing safety show, Frank, probably saved my good buddy's life. It's a crazy story. I'll give you the cliff notes. Moved from Texas to West Virginia. No clue about the dangers of cold water fishing being from Texas. Listened to your show about winter safety and put together a pack of towels, full change of warm clothes, shoes, socks, insulated coveralls, etc.
Perfect. Yeah, it's important. There's a lot of, there's a lot of things that could be prevented with a little bit of thought behind it. And, we're kind of out in the elements in a bass boat. You're kind of wide open, whether it's the middle of summer and you're on the Great Lakes, rough water can get you. Winter time is probably the most dangerous time. Early spring too, when it's nice outside and you think, it's 50s out and you think you're cool, you're fishing in a hoodie, but the water temperature's 40 degrees. Hypothermia happens fast.
It does, but I thought that was a cool email. Love getting emails from the listeners and viewers.
Absolutely.
Especially when you're saving lives.
And getting more fish in the boat.
And getting more fish in the boat. Then the fishing gods rewarded you with naked paddleboarder.
Hey, sometimes everything works out.
All right, this has been another edition of Day 4 with the man Frank SCALISH. We'll be back next week with the Dog Days of Summer. Great show. Really thought, every once in a while we end one and we go, man, that was the deal. That was the deal. That's a good show. We'll talk to everybody then. See ya.